Hey everybody, it's ALG, and I figured I'm going to be doing something different for you guys this time. I'm going to be explaining my whole rationale behind how I train and what are the appropriate things to do in order to ensure that you basically live an overall good life that's centered around fitness and healthy things and stuff like that. And I'm going to make it as holistic and cohesive as a video as possible. I want to try to communicate all the concepts to you guys that I feel that are very important if you're going to pursue a lifestyle of fitness. And I feel that I'm under the philosophy that your whole body should be accounted for, not just the physical aspect, but the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, all that good stuff. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about a few things, and then we're going to go into the anatomy and physiology of exercise, and then talk about stuff like dieting, maintenance phase training, and all of that. But first, I feel that there are very, very important things that you have to do in order to basically be able to train effectively. Like, there's a ton of videos on all the different exercises you can do, but unfortunately, those exercises may not work for everybody, especially right from the get go. Like, if you're not used to a lifestyle of training and then try to jump into this too fast, chances are you're going to not adhere to the training program. And a decrease in adherence increases the risk of you stopping exercise. So I want to show you guys first how to overcome that, which is more of a mental roadblock than anything else. And then I'm going to teach you guys how to train effectively. We're going a little bit into the physiology, biomechanics of things, and this is going to be comprehensive, but it's going to be very layman. It's going to be very light with the material here. So first, on the left-hand side here, this is very important. This is the biopsychosocial model, and I actually learned this many times through various exercise courses that I took through undergrad psychology. This is actually incredibly important. You can use this as a mental checklist before you start to exercise in your free time, because if you're watching this video and you're one of my subscribers and you're interested in fitness, you're probably going to be wondering, well, where do I begin? How do I start? This is where everybody should begin. I don't care if you've been training for a while or if it's been a long time since you've trained. These three circles right here are the most important things. Far more important than your physical fitness level, actually, is your mental health. So first, we're going to cover all the mental goodness, and then we're going to go over into your future self, guys. This is what you're going to look like if you watch my video. So just follow along with me here, and we're going to be good. So these things might come as obvious to most people, but for the most part, a lot of people tend to skip over one or two of these. And if you don't have every single one of these traits locked in and ready to go before you start exercising, it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. So first, on the top circle here, we have your biology. This is the most important of the triad, and this concerns your actual physical health, genetic vulnerabilities, drug effects, stuff like that. So obviously, if you're smoking or drinking, you really shouldn't be doing that. There's a large debate out there. A lot of people love their alcohol. You really should not be doing that during your fitness journey. So stop smoking, stop drinking. That's the first step. Any other drugs, you should really stop. From there, you really should check up with your doctor before exercising. A lot of people, they just kind of go into the gym, they have tight backs, they're not the most flexible people, they live sedentary lifestyles because they work a desk job, they're not stretching, they're just not used to moving their body in a lot of different ways. And some people, they also might be older on top of that. They may have underlying vulnerabilities. All of this stuff has to be run through by your doctor first. So it would be very smart to just get a checkup with your doctor, get blood work done before you start exercising here. And overall, just making sure that you're able to exercise to begin with. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you skip over this sphere and you start exercising, you're more than likely going to injure yourself at some point, and that's obviously not what you want to do. You want to start things very slowly, and it's really difficult. Like, this part of the fitness journey, the beginning, is probably the worst and it's the hardest to get over, but you need to do your due diligence with this, and you need to get a checkup with a doctor, see a physical therapist. If you have access to a physical therapist with direct access, they can also check you out, but also see your doctor, just to make sure, like, if you're taking medications, that they will be suitable for exercise. Like, if you're taking things like ACE inhibitors, those will not be good for exercise. So the social circle over here, social circle is a very important circle as well. Basically, what you're going to be looking at is like your family circumstances, your relationships, your friends, all the stuff. I believe fiercely in having high quality friends. For a while, like I'd say like back in 2014 through 16, I didn't really have great friends. They weren't on the physical fitness journey, and when you hang out with these individuals that don't have the same priorities as you do, they're going to try to pull you into their lifestyle and their circle. And this may involve like drinking, drugging, that type of thing. So if you're going to pursue a physical fitness lifestyle, you really have to look at your friends and see if they are pulling you down or rather encouraging you to do that. You want as much encouragement as possible to push through the first year of doing this on a weekly basis. That's probably one of the biggest things. A lot of people, they just lose the motivation because they see nobody else around them in their immediate circle is going to the gym, and they feel unmotivated to go after a while, mainly because nobody else is doing it. Nobody else in their family is doing it. Physical fitness is a solo journey, but a lot of these extraneous factors can also influence your decision making in the gym and whether you're going to the gym at all. So, peers, family circumstances, obviously, you might have family that may or may not be supporting or encouraging you on your journey. Family obviously is the hardest one to change. You've got your family no matter what. Hopefully, they're encouraging you. If not, you're going to have to source your inspiration from someplace else. And your relationships, like your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, you know, if you can get a partner that will go to the gym with you, ooh, that's probably like the best thing for you. If you share that goal and just be each other's cheerleaders, that could really push you to your absolute height. If you can't get that, that's totally fine. If you pursue fitness, you will eventually get a partner because, who doesn't like somebody who takes care of themselves? So, look at it that way. If you're single, whether you're a girl or a guy or pick your pronoun, physical fitness will eventually get you to where you want to be with partnerships and intimacy and stuff like that. It really does. So that's your social circle right there. Very important. And your psychological circle. Now, this is mostly mental and emotional health, coping skills, social skills, family and relationships, your self-esteem, and your mental health. Now, this could be a massive roadblock. If you don't get these things cleared, the reason why a lot of people want to go to the gym is because they have self-esteem issues and because they have certain mental health issues. And yes, going to the gym does alleviate some of this, but it can get in the way of your gains. You do need mental discipline and mental training before you go in and train the rest of your body, for sure. The brain always comes first. Your mental state always comes first. You have to make sure that you are mentally able to do this, because the gym is no joke. It's going to be a lot of work, but it's rewarding work, and it teaches you that you know, really the path to happiness, the solo path to happiness is through self-discipline and achieving your goals and, you know, enjoying that body, this fit body over here that I want everyone here to have. And that I'm well on my way to having myself, because, you know, I'm just over a year of my fitness journey, and you really, really have to make sure that everything up here in your head is okay before you can get the rest of this going. We can jump into the anatomy physiology, which we will do right now. And I have not used paint in a very long time. So I'm going to see what I can do here. All right. So I'm going to clear up a lot of misconceptions here about how to appropriately exercise. Everybody knows that the most important aspect to exercise is your brain. Like I've been saying, here's your brain. Whoop. I know, really crappy brain, but there it is. There's your pons. Here's your brain stem that goes all the way down, spinal cord. Really bad, I know, but you guys get the picture. Basically, what we're looking at here is when you start training in the gym, a lot of people think that you can just kind of build lean muscle mass immediately. And this is not true. Okay, the first roadblock to when you start training, within the first 3 months of you doing it, you're actually not training your muscles, not entirely. And this trips up a lot of people, when you start training for the first time, you're actually training your nervous system, which I know is a crazy concept. There's a chart that I'm going to edit into the video. It's a very famous chart. A lot of people who, you exercise students out there who have taken, obviously, courses on exercise science have seen the chart where you basically start training and you train your neurological systems before the muscle hypertrophy takes a hold, and usually the discrepancy is within the first 2, maybe 3 months, depending on the person. So you will get stronger, but you will not get bigger, not immediately, unless if you have some weird genetic crazy potential. I'm going to draw a nerve out here, and this nerve is the musculocutaneous nerve. So I'm going to start at its root, which is going to be around C5, C6. Those are the roots. So boom and boom. And then you have the musculocutaneous nerve, runs through the axilla. It's part of the brachial plexus. And it goes all the way down, and it innervates the muscles of the brachium. So you have the brachialis, you have the biceps, and obviously the muscle you want to train is your bicep, because those have what are called type 2 muscle fibers, and type 2 muscle fibers can get nice and big and puffy. They can hypertrophy really nicely. And the main reason, or rather the role of your biceps, is to flex the elbow. So you have the musculocutaneous nerve, and this is what it more or less looks like. This is an isolated nerve. It's part of the brachial plexus, but I just isolated it to make it look neat. This is what it will look like when you first start training. So you have the barbell, all right, barbell, and you're doing bicep curls. Whoop, whoop. This is so much fun. I'm just going to have more fun drawing in this crap. Yeah. Yeah, look at that. Excellent. Okay. And you're flexing. All right. You got that little arrow there. Whoop. You're flexing that barbell and you're doing bicep curls. So when your nervous system takes a look at that, it goes, oh, I'm not used to doing this. So the first step of what it does, and this takes a couple months, is what it actually starts to do is that it starts to create a little bit more branches. It creates more neuromuscular junctions, and a neuromuscular junction is where the nervous system meets the muscle that you're trying to exercise. So you're doing bicep curls. It's your first time doing it. You start off with 10 pounders and you do your 2 sets of 10, right? Because you just got that those magical numbers just come from somewhere, and you know that you know how to stop at like 10 reps, and you do it with the 10 pounds. So your nervous system acclimates, and then what happens is it starts innervating more and more of this bicep. This process takes about like a month, maybe a couple months, depending on where you are and what you're lifting. So eventually what starts to happen, once you get over 2 months, you up your weight, all right? So you're going from 10, oops, I want black. You want 10 reps, or I'm sorry, 10 pounds. That will go up to 20 pounds, right? Because the 10 pounds gets boring after a while. You're like, that's kind of easy. I don't really want to lift 10 pounds. I want to lift the 20. Now what starts to happen is you start to develop a little bit of lean muscle mass. Not a lot, just a little bit. And now you're going from one main fiber of the biceps into a little bit more fibers, little bit more fibers. Like there's a little bit that keeps adding on. Obviously not this much, but you get the concept. And the musculocutaneous nerve will keep adding more and more neuromuscular junctions. So now the lean muscle is finally catching up. It's beginning to hypertrophy a little bit. And hypertrophy, I mean build up, become stronger. The intracellular volume of the muscle increases. Now, after months and months of training, you're going to get a little bit more fiber development now. But it takes months. It takes adherence, and it takes good form, good posture in doing the bicep curls all the way up to the chest, all the way down. You don't want to BS these. You definitely want to have proper form in every single exercise you do in order to get the max gains necessary to get this body here that you want. So you're probably saying, well, this is great for strength, right? This is also great for physical therapy, right? Physical therapists, ooh, this is bad. Physical therapy does 2 sets of 10, 3 sets of 10. That's where that magic number comes from. It comes from science. If you want to build strength, 2 sets of 10 or 3 sets of 10 is wonderful. That is more or less in the sweet spot to build muscle, as well as increasing your weights over time. So you're continually giving yourself a challenge, but you're also putting yourself in a rep range that will promote muscle growth. However, most people who want to go to the gym, they want to get buff, right? They want to get really, they want like, you want to get here. But how do you get there? Like, how do you get the swole? And the truth of the matter is that if you do 2 sets of 10, 2 sets of 10, you're not going to get this. You're not going to get that. Right? Like, how many people have done physical therapy here? Now, how many people have gotten swole from 6 months of PT, right? It just doesn't get that way. Maybe like a little bit, but you're not going to get buff from doing that. So how do you train? What you have to start doing is you have to break out of the 2 sets of 10. The 2 sets of 10 rule is actually going to limit your muscular hypertrophy, because you don't just want muscular hypertrophy for strength training. You want to also look big. You want to increase lean muscle mass. So how do you do it? You work for the burn, and I'm going to show you what I mean. So when you gain your strength in the first few months, and you get bored with the 2 sets of 10, let's just say you go from the 20 pounds and you bump it up to like 35. All right, and 35 pounds, that's a lot of weight for a bicep to handle. With 35 pounds, you can train with this to not do the 2 sets of 10, but you can get into a higher rep range to work into the swelling feeling. Like, it's more of a feel than a number. If you count by the numbers, numbers are very good at limiting what you can do, right? It's kind of like counting calories. Counting calories for a lot of people is very good at trying to limit caloric intake. The 2 sets of 10, I think, on a psychological level, let's draw the brain here. Psychologically, one can be imprisoned by the 2 sets of 10, right? And you'll get stronger with 2 sets of 10, but you won't necessarily look bigger. So how do you get big, right? You activate the quote-unquote muscle pump. Now, there is no actual physiological muscle pump per se that makes it bigger. It's really a combination of your immune system, your lymphatic system. All of those biological processes act as a metaphorical pump to make you look bigger. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to achieve a certain type of muscle hypertrophy that enables you to get big. And in order to do this, when you work out your bicep curls, instead of limiting yourself at rep number 10 with a 35-pound dumbbell, you should go until you start to feel the twinge. All right, that's what I'm going to call it, twinge. And when you feel the twinge, what that is muscular fatigue. You are fatiguing the muscle. In physical therapy, we are not interested in fatiguing your muscles. We're interested in increasing the function and quality of your movement. So when you work your muscles into fatigue, you are triggering far more muscle hypertrophy than the 2 sets of 10 is going to give you. So, I don't know, it's kind of like a famous quote from Muhammad Ali. Like, I think he was trying to do crunches, like abdominal crunches or something like that, and he said that the reps that hurt are the reps that count, or something along those lines. I'll try to source the original quote, but he's more or less right. Like, if you want to get muscular definition, you're gonna have to feel a bit of pain, for lack of a better term. Now, you shouldn't overdo this, right? You can definitely, like, what I try to do is I'll do 10 reps in a set. And when I count to 10, that's usually at that 10th rep, that's when I start to feel fatigue. What I start to do, and what can help you guys out in the beginning of doing this, is start counting back from 1 once you start to feel that feeling. So once you start feeling that fatigue, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all right? What that will do is you'll work well into your fatigued range, and you'll get a far better workout. You're getting the workout that you actually want in order to get yourself a body like this, because now you're tearing up a lot of muscle fibers. You're activating your sympathetic chain, your sympathetic nervous system, which is a catabolic process of muscle breakdown, and you can trigger muscle growth more efficiently this way, for sure, in a very small amount of time. I mean, talking maybe 6 months to a year, you can notice a notable difference if you start to train this way. A lot of people will not tell you this. A lot of people just kind of give you exercises to do, but not how to think about the exercise, at least from an anatomy or a physiologic perspective. So you work out for the pump, the twinge, which is basically just fatigue, and that is how you want to catabolically train for rapid muscular growth, but it's going to take you time. It's going to take you realistically a year of trial and error to see which exercises work best for you. The only exercises you really need to more or less look like you're in amazing shape are pushes, pulls, and squats. All right. These are compound. This is all compound movement, and you're involving as many muscular groups as possible to basically get yourself stronger. So, compound. This is a very good place to start training. Very simple movements. Work with your body weight and work with light weights. That's the best advice I could start or I can give to anybody who is going to be starting out here. Okay, so we're doing good on time. Another thing that a lot of people don't seem to value as much is the anabolic. All right. So, what does the anabolic system do? Well, the anabolic system is going to be in charge for rebuilding your muscle, right? And if sympathetic is catabolic, then what other neurological system is going to be anabolic? Well, that's going to be the parasympathetic nervous system, and it'll actually look something like this. All right, there's your heart. Bloop, 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 bloop. There's your heart. There's the vagus nerve. That's cranial nerve 10. And basically, like your stomach, I'm just going to draw. Ooh, I should not have used red. Bad. Bad! I thought, maybe, okay. We'll use the orange. Really bad heart, really bad stomach. All right, there's your duodenum over here, and you have your intestines. All right, more or less. So, all of these systems right here are what, more or less, on a rudimentary level, they're what modulate your parasympathetic nervous system. So over here, the yellow represents your sympathetic chain. This is what creates the movement, propels body movement. And what the parasympathetic does is the rest and digest. So you obtain your nutrients this way. The heart, the vagus nerve slows down the heart, and when that happens, you have a bunch of chemical messengers that help aid more or less in digestion and in muscle rebuilding and regrowth. If you do not pay attention to your parasympathetic chain, or I guess not, it's not really so much of a chain, but your parasympathetic or anabolic processes as much as you do your catabolic, then what happens is you're not allowing your muscles to regrow. So, regrowth. And how do we get the best out of the parasympathetic system? Well, get a good hour or get a good night's rest. You're looking at 4 hours of REM sleep optimally. I know a lot of people don't get that much. Try to get the highest quality of sleep possible. You really only need about 7 hours of sleep. That's usually what I average, even with grad school and all of that. But the 4 hours of REM sleep is instrumental to muscle rebuilding. And you also have the fact that it doesn't have to just end at sleep, right? You can do parasympathetic exercises while you're awake and conscious. Wim Hof, that's fine. Wim Hof has a very good system that does just that. Breathing techniques, cold showers, meditation are all very important to help modulate your parasympathetic system consciously. So meditation. And I know that some of this is not based on science. However, more and more science is showing the benefits of meditation. Everything that Wim Hof does is actively being experimented with scientists right now, and they're finding a lot of positive things. I do Wim Hof. I follow his whole lifestyle. I swear by it. It's totally changed my life. And it also helps rebuild not only the muscles, but your mind. Like, it totally helps with everything, your whole body. And the anabolic phase really is just as important as the catabolic phase. So when you do your exercises, keep this in mind. It's not about lifting as heavy as you can. Unless if you're a weightlifter and you're trying to compete, this is not a weightlifter video, and that's not the focus of what I'm trying to tell you guys. What I'm trying to tell you guys is, yes, train in this particular way if you're looking for muscle mass. However, if you're really intent on building the muscle mass, also take the anabolic phase just as seriously, all right? And this means, having a balanced schedule. Like working out, you can work out 3 days a week minimum. Scientifically speaking, you only need to work out 3 days a week for an hour on those respective days. And having those days in between to rest is imperative for muscle rebuilding and for the overall growth and increase of fitness level. You have to rest as well as train. So for anybody starting out, keep these two in mind. And I believe that's everything I wanted to cover here. Eventually what will happen is you will start to see changes. It could be anywhere from 6 months to a year. Your body will change as long as you keep up on top of it. My training regimen is a bit difficult. It changes depending on what I'm doing. This summer I trained almost every single day. I wouldn't recommend anybody starting out to do that. Just do 3 days a week, an hour on those respective days, and on the days you have off, just rest. Meditate, participate in breathing exercises, train your brain as well as the rest of your body, and you're going to get probably the best out of the fitness lifestyle as much as you possibly can by acknowledging all of the bodily systems, not just the catabolic breakdown. Yes, the catabolic breakdown is necessary to trigger the cascade of events for muscle regrowth. However, the anabolic phase is equally as important, if not more. Okay. So with diet, that's bad. I'll just leave that alone there. So with diet, what you're looking at is you know that in order to build muscle, you need to eat more. Right? That's bad. Hold on, let me try that again. Build muscle, eat more. Right? Because that's what you've been told in the gym. The big guys at the gym who are ripped, but they're also big, they eat 3,000 calories, maybe 3,500 calories every day. Big C's. But in order to lose fat, so to burn fat, you have to eat less. And you're looking at anywhere south of 2,000 big C's. So 2,000 C's, as we know, scientifically this set rate, that's the standard to keep your body weight the way it is. And your body weight really consists of your bone density, your lean muscle mass, and your adiposity, which is your fat tissue. So it's just the ratio of adipose with muscle and bone. And obviously you have your nervous system, but that can kind of sort of be a part of adiposity. I mean, not really. I mean, yeah, it's a different type of fat, but your nervous system is mostly made up of fat, as well as a lot of the cells in your body. But it's just the ratio of these things. And if in order to maintain a good ratio between all these things, it's a 2,000 calorie per day diet. So if you want to burn fat, you eat less. If you want to build, you want to eat more. So there's a massive discrepancy that a lot of people just kind of get confused of when they first start. They don't really know like where to go with this. So when you're first starting out, you probably want to focus on burning fat more so than building muscle. But you don't want to actually count this out either. Because what you do when you do resistance training, like when you exercise with your body weight, like doing push-ups, for example, or when you lift weights, is that you're building your muscle fibers. So here's a muscle fiber, here's a muscle belly. You have your striations. And when you have your muscle belly and you exercise that, there's your nerve. Oop. All right, there's your acetylcholine that's going to contract this muscle here. Whoop, whoop. And that's going to create movement. So you have all of this stuff going on. The more that this hypertrophies, so the more muscle mass you gain by training in the way that I explained earlier, that is going to increase your metabolism. All right, and there's something called your basal metabolic rate, or your BMR. So your basal metabolic rate is what you want to change first. Now, how do you do that? And what is basal metabolic rate? Well, basal metabolic rate is the rate at you burn calories that you do by just living, just by breathing, walking around, doing light activities, that type of thing. So when you first start working out, you're not going to have a lot of lean muscle mass. So the majority of the calories that you are going to consume are more than likely going to go straight to fat storage, your adipose tissue, versus the creation of muscle, because that's what your body is used to. Right? Muscle. So at the beginning, whenever you eat like 2,000 calories, since you're not moving a lot, your caloric demand is low because you have no muscle mass. Therefore, the majority of your calories are going to be excess, and they're going to contribute to the adipose tissue, which is what makes you, look kind of, you get what I'm saying. So when you start working out, though, you're increasing your metabolism now. So now a lot of those calories are going to be dedicated to rebuilding muscle that you're continually tearing down. So less adipose tissue is going to be created over the course of you working out for months and months and months. And now you're going to see an increase in muscle. And with an increase of lean muscle mass comes the increase in metabolism. So if you ever wondered why you walk into like a Chinese food place and there are people who are in super good shape, they're ripped, and they're just going down like on a huge plate of Chinese food, which is easily like some of the dishes are like 1,700 calories in one go, and you're wondering, well, how are they doing that and are looking like that? Well, it's because they have so much lean muscle mass that it's not really going to affect them negatively at all, because more of the calories are going to the rebuilding phase than being left over in their adipose tissue. And chances are the next day they're going to be lifting heavy. So that's why it doesn't really matter. I mean, I have a friend who he can deadlift 590 pounds, and his pre-workout, I shit you not, his pre-workout that he takes are like straight up like sugar powdered gummy bears. And he will always be in the gym. He'll have his gallon of water, and I'll get to the water part and the diet part of this. But he'll always come in with like sugar candies, sweets, and he'll eat those, and then he'll just lift like mad, and there's not an ounce of fat on his body. So again, like if you have a lot of lean muscle mass, your metabolism or your basal metabolic rate, just by living and existing, you're going to burn far more calories doing exercises than somebody who's just starting out. And that's one of the main mysteries solved right there. Is they're able to lift a lot, their caloric demands are high, and that's why they're able to eat more. That's why they're able to eat more calories, because they need those calories. So when you try to burn fat and you want to show off your muscle definition and you want to become lean, you want to switch to a sub 2,000 calorie diet, right? And currently this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing to lean out. So I have had a period of around 4 months where I was eating more than 2,000 calories, and that helped me gain a lot of muscle mass. But also you can switch into the sub 2,000 calorie, and this will help increase muscle definition as well as burning off any remaining adipose. So you have to be able to switch in between these two fluently. This is commonly referred to as bulking, your bulking phase. And then down here, let's use a different color. How about green? This is what's referred to as lean, your leaning phase. Now, in either scenario, I'm going to have a list of foods that you guys should look into. In either scenario, you don't want to be eating junk, okay? Some people can get away with it, but I highly recommend that you eat like as close to the earth as possible. So, close to the earth. So, produce, lean meats, dairies, and nuts. And don't forget your legumes. Close to earth. Earth. So what does that mean? Well, we can type in text, and I'm just going to pop off a list right here. These are all of the foods that you should buy. Celery, ginger root. Ginger you can put in pretty much damn near anything. Turmeric, carrots. These can be interchangeable with sweet potatoes. If you want healthy carbs, and you want healthy carbs, you want slow digesting carbs, you don't want fast digesting carbs like pastas and breads and stuff like that. Stay away from bread. Like pasta every once in a while is okay, but breads are just evil. Just don't do it. Let's see, carrots, sweet potatoes. What else do we got here? What else? Tomatoes, jalapenos. Garlic, and jalapenos have capsaicins in them, which help aid your metabolism, believe it or not. And garlic is just wonderful for you. Let's see here. Dairy, so cottage cheese, yogurt. Try to get one with low sugar. Avocados, very good source of fat. You want healthy fats, you can eat coconut fats. Those are also good. They're interchangeable. I have a delicious avocado spread that I cook everything with, including eggs. Salmon, tuna, I usually eat those by the packet. Yes, and don't forget these over here. Broccoli. Alright, oops. Oh, wow, I should just, okay, never mind. I'm just going to continue down here. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, lean meats of choice. This could be your chicken. You can eat hamburger meat. You can eat turkey. And that's kind of it. Like, I wouldn't really get into much else. I would do store-bought. I wouldn't really eat out. Eating out is it's very hard to monitor all the foods that are mixed together when you eat out. You really do have to get used to, oops, oh geez. You really do have to get used to buying all the stuff separately, and it's much better and easier to manage things this way. You can make smoothies out of these, and these are just some of the many foods, and there's a lot of different foods that are out there that are highly beneficial to your health. Mainly, what I try to do is I'm very big on antioxidants. Yes, I'm very good on antioxidants, lean proteins, proteins from dairy. The dairy, I think, is the sweet spot for real. I really and truly think that dairy is the way to go. I'm going to dispel kind of like the myths on what I think or what a lot of people think about like casein supplement and whey supplements. Obviously, they're very popular right now, but they're also very expensive. If you eat yogurt and if you eat cottage cheese especially, you can get all of those caseins and wheys naturally from these two foods. I mean, cottage cheese is literally just straight up casein and whey basically put together naturally. The body absorbs it better. And for the most part, it's cheap. It's dirt cheap. Cottage cheese is nothing. Yogurt's nothing. And yogurt's typically mixed with fruit anyway. So that's why I don't have like a lot of fruit on here, because fruit has a lot of sucrose and fructose. You don't want to eat too much fruit if you're trying to lose weight. Eat berries. If you want to eat fruit, eat berries, because berries have a ton of antioxidants, like blueberries. You can try to eat, let's see, raspberries and strawberries. Very good for you. I like to eat mangoes. Mangoes are another amazing fruit. I guess tomatoes are technically a fruit. They're not so much of a vegetable, are they? But you guys get the idea. Limit your fruit intake. Bananas are also good. Apples. I don't really buy too much bananas or apples. Again, I just kind of limit like my sugary intake to berries. But one thing or one item that I do use kind of like as a pre-workout or maybe a post to help get you that energy is wild honey. All right, wild honey is very good for you. I always incorporate this either like in my tea. Sometimes I'll mix it in my yogurt. And then other things are flax seeds. Flax seeds are insanely good for you. You can do chia seeds, and you can incorporate those into your yogurt or whatever else, what other food you're having. What I like to do as a snack is I'll have cottage cheese and then I'll take celery and I'll put hot sauce and pepper into the cottage cheese and then I'll scoop it out with the celery and eat it. That's a very, very good snack. You really should be eating celery and, of course, cucumber if you like it. Not a prerequisite per se, but cucumber is also very good. You can have cucumber chips. I mean, you could do a lot of things with this. And of course, onions for the breath. So this is kind of like a pretty decent comprehensive list here. Water, all right. 1 gallon per day. If there's anything that you take away from this video, I don't even care if you don't exercise and you just want to ignore everything else that I just said. No matter what you're doing in life, you should try to shoot for 1 gallon of water per day. I know that that sounds a bit much. Work your way up to it. Start off with like maybe 1/4 of a gallon or 1/2 a gallon. You can buy the gallon waters at the store. That's what I do. I like to make green teas. We can start a new list here, maybe. Yeah, green tea. And what I do is I take like 10 packets of green tea and I'll put them in a gallon of water and then let it brew for like 5 or 6 hours. And then I have a gallon of green tea, you know. So there's a lot of things that you can do with water. But green teas are also essential for burning fat. Green teas have catechins, and molecularly, catechins facilitate the burning of adipose tissue. So, as long as you're doing your exercises, as long as you're hydrating yourself, your skin and hair will thank you for this. And you're going to be healthy. You're going to be filled with antioxidants. Your muscles are going to be able to rebuild properly. Just focus on your form of the exercise. Make sure that you're not lifting too heavy. You really don't have to lift heavy at all. You just need to lift heavy enough to get that muscle fatigue going. Stick to compound movements at first, and then you can start working your way up to less compound, maybe more specified movements. I guess the bicep curl is more of a specified movement than a compound movement. But it's really good to start off with compound movements first, like a push-up, pull-up, something like that. Because pull-up, believe it or not, it's not just upper extremity. You're also working your back, and to some extent your abs are also isometrically holding together. And another tip is, before I leave off on the topic of exercise, is never underestimate planking. When I first started off exercising, I didn't really take planking seriously at all. I never did planking. There's a couple tricks that have helped me, especially for my abdominal core. One, I'm just going to try to get back to the brush here. Hold on. Brush. I'll pick orange here. So one, I would say Supermans. Supermans are very good for your lats and glutes. Supermans for the back. And planks for the anterior abdominal core. So basically it's going to hit your anterior. And also there's a vacuum technique that has basically given me instantaneous results. Like within a couple weeks, I've noticed a tremendous difference in how my core looked when I started doing these vacuums. So when you do a vacuum, I'm assuming you guys know how to do a Superman and a plank, but when you do a vacuum, you exhale all the way out, okay? And then what you do is you close your mouth and your nostrils and you suck the air in, you kind of lift up your chest a little bit, and basically you tighten your abs until you start feeling a burn. You want to hold this burn for like 10 seconds at a time. And then what you can do is you can do that 3 times per day, every day. And you guys, I guarantee you, will notice a difference. This vacuum technique, I think, is even more effective than either the plank or the Superman, but it doesn't really hurt to do all 3. Do not underestimate these. Your abs absolutely need, these are called isometrics, isometric holds, right? A lot of people are beginning to say, you know, ab curls don't really do much of anything to get the six-pack. And that's, for the most part, true. I mean, ab curls are great, but I feel that doing isometric holds can be, in some instances, more effective than just straight up doing abdominal curls. So, this is a long video. So do you guys get what I'm saying now? Like, in order to lean out, you want to eat a sub 2,000 calorie diet, and you really want to eat this stuff, guys. See this list down here? Eat it, consume it, okay? Stick to this here. You don't want to eat like any Burger King. You don't want to eat Panera bread. You really just want to lower things down and simplify things as much as possible. What I'm trying to say here. And then obviously, if you're trying to build muscle, you know, you do want to eat more chicken. You can eat. Ooh, I forgot another food. Brown rice is another great way to ingest slow digesting carbohydrates. A lot of people will make a big deal out of carb cycling. When you're first starting out, I honestly wouldn't really worry about it. Just kind of limit your intake all across the board and then start just working out, and you'll see a difference. And when you feel that difference, right, like when you become this guy up here, you're going to have a much better guidance. You're going to have a better template to work with in terms of how to progress your physical fitness level. So I hope that this video, helps. And if you guys want me to get more specific about certain topics, I certainly can. As for me and what I do, I might reserve that for a separate video. In order to achieve a sub 2,000 calorie diet, what I do is I do intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is proven to work for burning adipose tissue, but again, these things take time. Again, if you want to learn more about intermittent fasting, more about the different types of fruits, veggies, and lean meats to consume, or anything else, just let me know in the comment section below. And this has more or less been my lecture to you guys. This is very basic, very rudimentary. I hope you guys understand all the concepts here. This is ALG signing out, and I will catch you guys later. Bye.